Now that I've started God Save the Queen, I don't feel like I can end till it ends. But I've got a shortish version. We've only got a minute to go. Welcome, everyone arriving. Good to see you, Anne-Marie. Thanks, Thingamajig. There's so much to cover. This is just one episode. I know there'll be many more lives. Well, hey, Sassy Pants. Good to see you. Hi, Anne-Marie. That's my beautiful cat, Sunny. She voted yesterday. I feel like I should stand for this. Hey, Sunny girl. It's the first live I've done on YouTube, so we're about to find out how Sunny handles it. Hey, Morgan. See you when you get here, Groover. And hello and good morning from Australia, Tasmania, Australia. Hi, everybody. My name is Tori and welcome to my channel, Traces of Nuts. Today we are discussing the Meghan Markle versus the Monarchy saga. Now, there's mountains to cover and the journey to justice. So that's your connection. You've lived in the US for 33 years, still British and proud to be British, as you should be. A country steeped in history and tradition, and I'm proud to be a member of a country that's in the Commonwealth too. Am I upset with the interview? Upset? I'm disgusted. And we'll be chatting mainly today. There will be a lot of different episodes on this. I know like Thingamajig said she'll be listening. She raised quite a few interesting things about Meghan's miscarriage and pregnancy, and so we can do that one day. There's going to be a lot of episodes, I think, on this because it's far more interesting than following the Chris Watts case, let's be honest, or the drama on the YouTube. So yeah, hi Ruth, I'm so glad you made it. I'm denied about what time to go live, and I was hoping that you'd be able to join in. So yes, this is Sunny. She's just there. It's her inauguration on YouTube Lives. We'll see if she's like her big sister Biscuit and attacks me when she thinks I've been doing this for too long. Yesterday I put a T-shirt of mine. I lived in Kansas City, Missouri, as many of you know, in the 80s. And I put a T-shirt, a KCMO T-shirt on one chair, and I put it's always on the other chair, but the cushion in that photo of Sunny, on one side it's the Union Jack, on the other side it's the Australian flag. So I flipped it around to be the Union Jack. You set your alarm. Hi, Meerkat. Good to see you, gorgeous. You set your alarm. Oh, bless you. Hey, Jamie. So good to see everyone. So, yeah, I put the two cushions, or like the T-shirt, the KC T-shirt was hanging over a cushion on another chair, and I just waited to see which one she went to first, and she chose the Union Jack. So I think we have a constitutional monarchist cat in the family. Hey, Lady Pegasus, good to see you. Now, one thing I haven't done is go back through the lives that we've been chatting about this to see people's comments. So certainly feel free to chat. Like I said, though, there's so much to cover. I've got my notepad here. I'll make notes if people bring up things that we run out of time today. I'm happy to get people up on panel if they want to weigh in on the discussion. But I thought we'd look at the interview with Oprah. If you haven't watched it, don't worry. Look at it later. It's pretty bad. I'm trying to be nice. And also Piers Morgan's reaction to it, and also some of the fallout from that with him storming off the set. And I fully understand why he did. I was heckling my computer yesterday because of his altercation with Alex Beresford, I think his name is. Let me just check. Don't want to get any names wrong. Yeah, Alex Beresford. Beresford. So I understood why Piers got frustrated, but he wasn't really articulating the point. But we'll be chatting about that as well. Soski. Morning. Good to see you. Shoshki. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's beautiful the way it's written. Any Adelaide trips booked? Aha, now I know who you are. Actually, I can recognise your photo too. No Adelaide Fringe for me, but definitely a trip to Adelaide later in the year. I can't really say too much at the moment, but something to do with my new job is very heavily connected with Adelaide, so I will be over. I've also got my best friend Georgie. It's her 50th in July in Adelaide, so I'll be over for that too. Pegasus, don't get ahead of me. I'll make notes, but there's going to obviously it's an evolving story. I just wanted to set this live up with a bit of basic info about what happened. Not basic, but go through what happened in the Oprah interview, have a bit of discussion about that, have a look at Piers Morgan's reaction, and talk about that. But I also want to, before I end this live, have a look at a breakfast show in America, and in particular one fuckwit and his comments. And unfortunately, he's the sort of dude that gives America a bad name. None of my American friends would ever say the stuff that he said, but he's just an absolute twat. And I really want to have a bit of a reaction at the end with him because, holy fuck, he's a wanker. It is Karina. It's good to see you, gorgeous. Hello, Betty Bunn. Yeah, it is important to note that Piers at one time was interested in Meghan and they had a bit of a falling out. But, that just, to him, he said, shows how quickly she drops her friends. And look at her. She's dropped a lot of friends and family, and there's a definite connection. Do the Bogan voice again. How the fuck are you? It's a beautiful day here in fucking Tassie. We're heading for a top of 20 degrees Celsius. I've got my cup of tea. Of course I'm drinking tea. I'm not doing what the Queen Mother used to do and put pure, straight gin in her teacup. It is actually tea. Just in case. You love me. Hey, Casper, thanks for your email, mate. I just saw it right before I went live, but I'm so proud of you, mate. And no, I didn't see it, but I'm going to watch it for sure. But cheers, mate. Nothing like closure, right? I'm proud of you. I was all lined up for the one that was originally on the 13th of March, but I had friends down from the northwest of Tassie over the weekend and we were out and about, so I missed it. But I'm looking forward to watching it. So what I thought we could do is talk about some of the lies and incorrect things that Meghan said in the interview with Oprah. Meghan wanted to go. Of course did. Meghan wanted to go on fucking everything. Isn't it funny that she keeps complaining about the media attention they were getting whilst using the media to whinge about the media attention they were getting? I just want to say too, just with the Oprah interview, one of the problems, one is that there's a shitload of bullshit and lies. A lot of it's easy to disprove. So the stuff that she said, so it's not just people going, you're a liar, there's actual evidence. But the thing that annoyed me about Oprah, even back when she had her show, was she's not a good interviewer. And I know that a lot of people are going to go, yeah, she is. She's worth billions of dollars because of her interviewing skills. But no, she was a terrible interviewer. She was a name dropper. Whenever she had guests on, she'd remember when we were having breakfast in New York that day, always relating to her personal experiences with whoever she was interviewing, but also never expanded on things. And one of the biggest problems I found watching the interview with Oprah and Meghan was Meghan talks in absolutes. So she'd say things like, I wasn't given any help at all. Pardon me. I don't know why I'm clamming up. Sonny's just down here on the floor. Hey, Sonny. She might come and say hello. It's her first live. Aussie flag, we're about to slam Meghan Markle. That's what's going on in here. We're having a break from Chris Watts. We're having a break from the Diane's Channel saga. We're talking about Meghan. But with Oprah, with the interview, Meghan answered a lot of questions in absolutes. And what pisses me off with Oprah is that she's like, oh, and then doesn't elaborate, doesn't ask any questions, doesn't get to the the absolute guts of what's being said. I just want to quote Mick Malloy too, who said yesterday, I think, nothing like watching an interview with two millionaires being interviewed by a billionaire talking about hardship. But Mick Malloy is an Aussie comedian, for those of you who don't know who he is. So I was once described in a review as Mick Malloy with tits. That was nice. I was pretty mouthy and filthy though, so I deserved it. But yeah, he's probably got bigger boobs than me, to be honest. Anywho, so Oprah, rather than like elaborating and asking more questions and getting to the gist of things, she'd just be like, oh, and then move on to the next question. And when you've got people who speak in absolutes, it reminds me of when we're kids and we're like, nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. Everyone's going to that thing. I want to go too. Like as children, you speak in absolutes and your parents are like, oh, really? Everyone in the world is going to that? Absolutely nobody on the planet loves you. And that's how Meghan talks. Meghan is very childish. She's a stroppy little bloody, I was going to call her princess, not literal, but like she's acting like a little spoilt brat. When you interview someone and they speak in absolutes, nut it down a bit. But Oprah would be like, oh, clutching at her pearls, and that would be it. And then they'd go on to another question. And one example was Meghan claiming she didn't get any assistance whatsoever at all from the royal family about how to be a royal. And that is the biggest load of bullshit there is. For starters, don't you reckon Prince Harry would have told her a few things? I do. I reckon Harry would have had a bit of info for her. I reckon Kate and William probably told her a few things as well. The fact that the Queen's former secretary was actually re-employed out of retirement to train Meghan, who, and you'll love this for those of you who are following the Chris Watts saga, Meghan allegedly had binders full of information about royal protocols. Binders, that fucking word again. Binders. I've got so many notes, but that was just one example. So with Oprah, rather than when Meghan said, nobody helped me, Oprah didn't go, what, Prince Harry didn't tell you something? Your future brother and sister-in-law didn't give you a bit of info? The Queen didn't help you out a bit? Was anyone employed to teach you stuff? But she didn't do that. She'd just go, oh, that's terrible, and move on. And that's why it's a fucked interview. It's a fucked interview for many reasons. One is Meghan's bullshit, and the other is Oprah's way of conducting it. Let me see what's going on in chat. Pardon me. You like my new hairstyle? Thank you. It's a bit flat today, but a bit beachy and scruffy. My best friend's my hairdresser, so that helps. My best friend in Tassie. My opinion, she's an American who went to another country with her American entitlement, and her snobby self was pissed that she wasn't catered to. Go sassy pants. That's exactly what happened. Exactly. And when we go through some of the complaints of Meghan's in the interview with Oprah, it's just one entitled little piece of bullshit after another. Do we get gifted with Christmas puddings like the Queen's staff? At Christmas time, you might. Oh, you've got a headache, Casper. Do this. Pinch your acupuncture point. The little fleshy bit in there, in between your thumb and your index finger. You find that little fleshy bit, press it as hard as you can to the point that it's almost unbearable, and hold that. And I'm doing it really on myself, and I don't need to. I don't have a headache. Hold it for as long as you can. And trust me, even if it doesn't completely get rid of the headache, it takes the edge off. Right, back to Meghan and the monarchy. Total bollocks. All of it. Yeah, I agree, Journey to Justice. It should have been a live interview. Yep, she was photographed with the binders early on. Ruth, her real name is Karen. So And also, I thought Oprah's glasses were terrible and she looks like an owl, but that's just me. And if anyone turns that into a racist comment, you're a fuckwit, seriously. So, yeah, to start off, Meghan, a huge part of the interview was complaining about all the media attention, but she was actually using media to complain about all the media attention. There is a lot of evidence of her back in her day as an actor in Suits, getting or going to exchanges to get on the front page of an magazine time. We'll come to that a little bit later. I just made notes while I was watching it. Um, she I don't know what that note is. Oh, she slammed her dad for not protecting his grandchildren or her, but she also pretty much wrote him off, right? So, yeah, dad's going to come to the rescue there. But what I want to go down to, I mean, she slammed her sister. She said that she had an expectation to basic privacy. Sorry, kiddo. You don't when you marry into a royal family. Sucks. I mean, you will be able to go to the toilet without anyone watching you, but, and she was already in the public eye, which, kind of, I think, added to her intrigue. Like, I know a lot of Americans watched the wedding because she's an American actor and she was already in the public eye in a very popular show. So I don't know how she thought going from that world into the world of being a member of a royal family, she'd suddenly have privacy. If anything, it quadrupled it that she wouldn't have a lot of privacy. And you can't get all the privacy that you want, but also wear all the jewelry and go to all the amazing things and travel all over the world. We'll talk about her passport in a minute too. Um, Yeah, exactly, Jamie. They did want to protect her and make sure that the same thing didn't happen that happened to Diana. And Prince Harry was pretty firm on that one as well. I agree, Thingamajig, it wasn't an interview at all. It was literally just Oprah going, here's a microphone, slam the royals. And it's tacky and it's disrespectful, but also a lot of it was absolute bullshit. And of course, we're going to talk about the racist side of things as well. Exactly, she knew what she was getting into. And this is a girl who was fascinated with the royal family long before she met Harry. She had a book about Princess Diana in her bedroom, which, that's an interest in the royals. But I'll get to my notes as we go along. I'll run through a few things. And if anyone wants to jump up on panel, let me know because it'd be good to have a bit of a chat. We are going to talk about the racist component. Now, there were two parts of it that Meghan said. One was about this conversation that took place, wondering what the colour of Archie's skin was going to be like, how dark he was going to be like. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make out that I have any experience in this area at all. I'm not going to decide for her what she does or doesn't think is racist, and also her own personal experiences. I think if a member of the royal family said something that was racist, then they deserve to be called out on that within the family, not on international television. What, 49 million people watched it or something insane? Or was that their wedding? Anyway, I'm not going to make any comments about that, but I am going to make a bit of a comment about the conversation generally. I mean, they said it wasn't the Queen or Prince Philip, so everyone's like, well, it was either Charlie or Wills. Like one of those two probably said it. Harry was like, oh, I will never, ever reveal who made that comment. But let's just pare this back a little bit, okay? Let's just pare this back to a standard conversation that people the world over, like all over the world, would have when they have biracial couples in their lives that are about to have a baby. I've got a really good friend who I went on exchange with AFS to the States with. He was adopted as a baby along with his brother, and he's black. And he married a white girl. And when they got pregnant the first time, they had a baby, and the baby came out like milk chocolate colour, a blend of the two. The second time they had a daughter, the second daughter they had, she's lily white, white as the driven snow. And we were all like, holy shit, never would have thought that could have happened. Thought we'd either get like another cafe latte or maybe even a bit darker, but not white, like no no colour at all. I mean, she's not an albino, but she's just a white baby. And in fact, when Gordon goes out in public with her, he's copped a lot of flack from people. They're like, what are you doing with that little white girl? That's fucking racist. But while his wife was pregnant, there were conversations about what colour their baby's skin might be. And it wasn't said in a racist way. We were curious. Same with another friend of mine who's married to an Asian girl. We wondered if the baby would end up having Asian features or whether it would have Caucasian features. My friend Christina, who married an Indian, we had the same conversation when she was pregnant with her son Odin. Wonder what he's going to end up looking like. Now, if you add into the mix, you've got Meghan, who I haven't studied her actual percentages or anything like that, and you've got a ranger, you've got a redhead. Tell me people wouldn't be curious about what this combination could end up looking like. Why is that conversation racist? Like, yeah, if it's said in a way, oh shit, we might have a really dark black baby in the royal family now, racist, for sure. But it's going to be interesting to see what your baby turns out like, considering Harry is full-on redhead and you're gorgeous. Like, her colour is absolutely beautiful. Wouldn't matter what colour she had, but that particular colour is beautiful. But wouldn't you be curious? Isn't that a normal thing? Like, tell me if I'm wrong. Meghan's fair-skinned herself. You do wonder what exactly, and even if you've got two white people having a baby or two black people having a baby or two Vietnamese people having a baby, you do wonder what they're going to look like. Are they going to get dad's nose, mum's eyes, dimples, hair? It's just a conversation. So the fact that Harry didn't sort of say verbatim what the comment was, Meghan did, and the fact that Harry wouldn't name who said it, it's kind of like a long bow, right? You could take it down the racist road because who really knows what was said? Harry's never going to reveal anything. Meghan's account of what was said happened before Harry was sitting next to her. Like, who knows? If it was racist, it's inappropriate and it's bullshit. But if it was literally, what do you reckon the baby's going to look like? Because you're kind of an unusual combo. My cousin has two kids with a Chinese chick. Ari is white and Charlotte is a little China girl. Brett's already been asked if Charlotte's adopted. Casper, you don't really need to know much because we're really just going through what happened in the interview and it's all pretty. We will elaborate into other episodes where we'll go into a lot of detail. I definitely want to do a live with Thingamajig. She's got a lot to say. But the second component of this whole racism claim was that Archie wasn't going to have a title because he was potentially going to be a black baby. And this is where Piers Morgan got frustrated with Alex Beresford and stormed off the set. Alex Beresford had already made some really good, valid points about the possible racism attached to the comment about Archie's colour. And Piers Morgan agreed with that. There was no issue with that. But then it moved on to the thing about Archie and his apparent title being taken off him, the title that he was never actually going to have, or any of the other other grandchildren of the Queen, except that Charlotte and Louis, they got an exemption for them to get titles. They also, Beatrice and Eugenie, got exemptions as well. But if and when Charles becomes king, Archie would have become a prince. That's the way it works. As a great-grandchild, not a grandchild, you don't get a title. Not just Archie, but any of them, unless you apply for this exemption, like William did. But William's also next in line to the throne after Charles. Presumably that's why he got it. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat. I shouldn't do that. Hey, Shanna. Welcome to anyone coming in. 23 of you. This is an interesting topic, clearly. Megan put down Caucasian. Interesting. But anyway, I'll just finish this little thing about Piers and everything. The second part, though, was that Archie was not entitled to a title. That's just the way it is. If and when Charles becomes king, he would automatically have become a prince. Now, this is a kid who his own parents said he could have been a lord when he was born. He could have been, I don't know, Lord of Dumbarton or Dumbarton or something, and they didn't want it. Meghan and Harry didn't want him to be a lord. They just wanted him to be Archie. The title that he could have had at birth, they said, no, we don't want him to be a lord. So all this shit that she said to Oprah about the title, firstly, he did have a title at birth that they opted for him to not have, Lord of Boondoggie, Lord of Brigadoon, Lord of Bonnydoon. They said no to that. But in the interview with Oprah, she's like, they took the title away. Now, Oprah didn't do her research, doesn't know about how the titles all work, and just went, oh, and then they went down this whole fucking racist avenue again. And it's just not. And this is where Piers got shitty with Alex Beresford, because when they moved on to talk about, and if you haven't seen any of this stuff, just punch it into YouTube later and watch it. Do watch the Piers Morgan storming off one, because I can see his frustration, but I think he was already getting a bit fucked off with Alex, who talked over the top of him a lot. And he was trying to make the point, but wasn't being particularly eloquent in the way that he was saying it. And Alex Beresford kept going on and on about the racist component. It's a royal protocol. Racism doesn't come into this. It's a royal protocol. It is what it is. It's a factual thing. There's no racism. This is the way it is. Archie's not going to become a prince until his grandfather becomes king. Full stop. There's no racism there. It's hard because Wills and Kate got exemptions for Charlotte and Louis, but say they hadn't, Charlotte and Louis would become a princess and a prince when their grandfather becomes king. Same as Archie. There's no racism. It's a protocol. And the fact that was Alex Beresford's rant was about it being inherently racist, and if she perceives it to be racist, it is. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. It is what it is. It's a protocol, full stop. It's a fact, full stop. There's no racism there. It's simply the protocol and how it works. That's it. Oh, but if she perceives it to be racist, well, do William and Kate think it's racist because their kids don't have a title? Who's the one making it racist? I hope I made my point clear on that one. I agree too, Shanna, and that's a really valid point, because a lot of people cry racism very quickly these days, and I've got a very top-heavy American-based Facebook community that I adore, but we talk about it a lot in there, and a lot of the Americans in the group talk about it too, how quickly the racism label is put onto things, and it does take away from genuine racism. It's diluting the severity of actual racism. And to cry racism at the drop of a pin, and this was over a royal protocol that has been around since George V, I think. I could be wrong. I did read up on it, but I didn't make notes. I would have done a better interview. What would I have asked? I wouldn't have done it in the first place. Or I would have said to her before it, what is the point of this interview? I want to basically bullshit about the royal family and shit all over it from a great height and lie through my ass. Nope. If I had have had her on there, though, I would have grilled her. These talking in absolute responses that she gave, and the way Oprah would just go, oh, and then move on and not actually cut her down. And that was the example I made at the start about no one helped me learn how to become a royal. If Harry didn't tell her one thing about how to be a royal, give me $1 million. If Wills and Kate didn't help her out, if the Queen didn't help her out, if the Queen's former secretary who came out of retirement and was specifically employed to train Meghan, who ultimately had her sacked, if she didn't teach her anything, if the binders of protocols and information that Meghan was seen walking around with, there's photos of her holding the binders, and we're not talking Loopy Lana and the Chris Watts binders. If she never opened them and didn't read a thing, I would have dug right into that. I would have dug right in. You do have to watch out for people from Texas. That are my long conversations with Kate. And then there was that whole thing about who made who cry. Who gives a fuck? Again, what little spoilt brat entitled princess People cry. Girls cry a lot. We cry a lot. Make a big fucking deal. And well, it wasn't actually me who made Kate cry. It was Kate who made me cry, and she apologized and gave me flats. Who gives a fuck? What is wrong with Meghan Markle? Why does she think she's entitled to this perfect existence that is devoid of any human experience, like people being upset with each other? Who the fuck does she think she is, man? She didn't want the help. She did think she knew it better than anybody else. And I think, what an amazing experience to get to marry into a royal family, but you do it with dignity and grace like Princess Mary of Denmark. You do it with grace and you respect this monarchy that has been around forever, and you work out a way to fit in. Meghan Markle to me is like when you have a visitor at your house, or whether when you go to stay at someone's home, or whether you travel to another country, you look around you and you absorb things and you watch how the locals exist, and then you work out a way to happily coexist with them. You don't rock up to a foreign country or to someone else's home and expect everything in that home to suddenly cater to how you want things done. That doesn't work. That's not life. Be respectful. If you love Harry, you're kind of unfortunately going to be marrying into this family that he was born into, and some responsibilities are going to come along with it. And respect your husband and his ancestors and the history and the traditions that you're marrying into. Don't go on a fucking TV show and slam the fuck out of them while the Queen has her 99-year-old husband in hospital, incredibly sick. Prince William has had to come out publicly and say we're not racist. That's the first time a royal's had to do anything like that. He's losing his brother. The whole thing is awful. What does William think of Harry and this? Do we know? I think William's being so tactful. What did Harry say? We're having a bit of a break. I'm having a break from my brother. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not responding to his calls because he wants to tell you you're being a dickhead and you're pussy whipped and your wife's a narcissist. Don't hold back, Tory. I don't like the fact it was Oprah Winfrey when it was to do with the Queen. I agree, stop animal cruelty. Where the Commonwealth got to see it the day after America, I agree on that too. The Queen is not racist. Well, isn't it like 65% of Commonwealth countries have coloured populations? There is a level of entitlement that comes out of Hollywood, LA. I think she was used to getting her way. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do too, Morgan. Your Piers Morgan. I'll call you Piers. Definite entitlement. And it was disgusting. You love William, Shanna? Didn't know that about you, gorgeous girl. Now, I do want to just quickly touch on a couple of other things that came up in the Oprah interview, and then I'm happy to drop a link if people want to jump up and have a chat. In fact, let me do that now. I just want to talk about the security thing that Meghan kept crapping on about, how there was no security, right? One, you left the royal family. Working royals are the only members of the royal family, even members of the royal family who aren't working royals, like Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, don't have security because they're not working royals. Only working royals have security, and security is organised by the police in London. They're the ones that organise it, and it's for working royals only. You guys were like, we're not fucking working royals, we're fucking out of here. And then you want security and you're in a completely different country? No, you don't get it. Again, not racist. You weren't entitled to it, Meghan. Suck it up, princess. Princess. Secondly, your husband's worth $30 million. Do you reckon he might be able to just hire a security guard for you guys? Haven't you just bought like a 46-bedroom mansion? Maybe get a 5-bedroom house. Use the change to get security. But on top of that, Prince Charles actually paid out of his own pocket up to £2 million, I think it was. Where is it? Where's my notes? Ding, 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 ding. £2.5 million from Charles for them to get security in the US. So why is she on Oprah going, there was no security? Again, you entitled little shithead. Someone go up on to panel. All right, so you're saying I've got no info either, Casper? I won't take that personally. There's the link, Groovers. Jump on up. Just don't flash your doodles. Shouldn't have said that with Casper in chat, but I've always called penises doodles. I'm sorry. Hi, Aussie Trisha. Good to see you. Hi to anyone that's popped in that I haven't seen yet. I have been ranting a lot. I've got so many notes. I've so much I want to talk about. But if anyone wants to jump on up, I didn't know about that. Yeah, why should the UK pay for American security? And why should people with $30 million in the friggin' bank not pay for their own? Why does she get entitled to go on an American TV show and complain about the lack of security when she wasn't entitled to it anyway, even if they were back in the UK and had chosen to not be working royals, which is a decision she and Harry made? She wasn't going to get security if they'd stayed in London. So we've talked about Archie's title or lack thereof, security. I also want to mention too, one of the things the monarchy are criticised for the most is their spending. And that's why Princess Eugenie and Beatrice no longer have security, because at one point all the royals had it. And so to cut down on their spending, they decided that only working members of the royal family, like working royals, working as a royal, would get the security to cut their costs, to stop the public getting upset at all the spending. That was a specific decision that they made to try and cut spending. So here's Harry's wife going, well, you should have paid for my security. Doesn't look good for your husband there. He's part of a family that are trying to reduce their spending so that the taxpayers don't get sick of all this opulence and luxury. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, no doodle talk. Sorry, Groover. Plus, I didn't have to... Oh, hang on. What did the genie say? Protocol. To write to the Queen, you must open with Madam and close the letter with the form, I have the honour to be, Madam, Your Majesty's... Yeah, beautiful. Your Majesty's humble and obedient servant. Total respect. Hey, just a question. Prince Philip's birthday is a little way off still, a few more months, but do you reckon he gets a telegraph from the Queen when he turns 100? I agree, Lady Pegasus. The interview was about promoting Oprah and Harry's charity for mental health. That's another point. Meghan saying no help, no assistance for her and her mental health problems. Are you fucking shitting me? Are you shitting me? Let's talk about members of the royal family, recent ones, but we could if we wanted to go back to like Princess Margaret, King Edward. They got help. They got help with mental health problems. Diana, she had treatment. Diana is famously quoted as saying she had access to some of the best doctors in London, but she still couldn't be fixed. Charles had therapy. Harry's own dad has had therapy, and mother. Harry first had therapy at age 12, understandably, when his mother died, but had it again at age 28. Meghan's own husband has had help for mental health problems as a member of the royal family. Even James Middleton, who is Kate Middleton's brother, so Kate being married to Prince William, has been incredibly open about his struggle with mental health issues and has had access to doctors and so on, and that's been talked about a lot by the royal family. That's just a few of them. But yeah, you could go back through and find other royals for sure, like Princess Margaret and King Edward. And also Meghan, just want to remind you, your mum's a social worker. She's a social worker who works in the mental health arena. So Meghan got no help. None. Couldn't ask her mum, who she clearly loves. Mum was at the wedding. Mum couldn't have helped her. All these other royals who've had help with mental health problems, including her own husband and her father-in-law and Diana, who she idolised, and her sister-in-law's brother. Like, did I post the link? Does anyone want to jump up? Can. Yeah, she did. She did know the racist thing, because what did Oprah do? Oprah just went, oh, clutch my pearls, and then that was it. No digging into it any further. Yeah, they could have. They didn't have to work for the royals. They didn't have to be senior royals. They could have just married, got their own job, kept their own jobs. Exactly. Where's Sunny? Sunny. She's just right there. You can just see her little cheek and ear poking out. Sunny, do you want to say hi to YouTube? Can you see her face? Hi, gorgeous. Come here. Come and debut on YouTube. Girl, did you see that fine leap? She doesn't like being picked up, so I won't do that. But did you? Hopefully you saw her. Hey, thingamajig. G'day, gorgeous.
Hello, how are you going, Tori?
Good, darling. You're becoming a bit of a panel expert.
Oh, well, you were touching on something I've got a passion for. This is me to a T. I watch this every morning. Every morning, I have my cup of coffee, and I check up on what's happening with the royals. Yeah.
Well, you would definitely know more about the topic than I would from just the little notes that you left in chat overnight. There's things that you're aware of that I don't even know about, like all the sort of pregnancy scandal stuff. Do you want to fill us in on that? Because I know you said make sure you cover it, and I was like, I don't know anything about it. I want to get Thingamajig up to talk about that.
So you're saying you have never heard that there was controversy around her pregnancy the first time? You've never heard that?
I heard I did hear after Archie was born, I heard some pretty dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
And I do vaguely recall reading about something that people were saying she was just wearing like a fake prosthetic belly.
Yep,
But that's
absolutely.
about the extent of it. But Archie looks like Harry. He does.
Well, there's
He
only
looks
a
like
couple
both
of
of them.
yeah. Well, there's only a couple of photos that have been, put out there of him, and one on his birthday where he was in a nappy, a soiled nappy, and a singlet or something. She couldn't even dress him up, and she wanted him to be a little prince, but she couldn't even dress him up for his little book reading. I mean, there's so many bizarre things this woman does. But
So do you think
I think,
I'm going to
yeah,
put the
go
little
on.
photo up of Harry and Archie. There's
That's the one from
certainly,
Canada. The one from
yeah,
Canada. Yep.
yeah. It's so cute. Like, he's cute, but I can see his mum and his dad in his face.
Yeah. I mean, he's a gorgeous little baby that's going to grow up and have to relive his parents' history, which is not looking good at the moment.
No,
And try.
and also,
Yeah.
are they potentially preventing him from having a relationship with his uncle, auntie? There we
Well,
go. Let me expand it a bit. Oh,
yeah, he's gorgeous, isn't he?
he's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. But what do you think that he's a it's not their baby?
Well, that is another thing because I follow 3 channels, right? That have they're not sugar channels, so I'm not a sugar. I'm actually someone that looks at it from a different point of view to other people. And if you go into according to Taz, she has the most fantastic take on it. Murky Meg has a
Yep.
fantastic take on it, and so does Celt News. So they're 3 channels that I follow. But all you have to do is just go into the internet, type in her name, and you're going to get lots and lots of juicy stuff. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. But there's other
So
things that,
just
yeah,
what's the Taz girl's name? Full name? The channel?
according to,
Yeah.
as in the letter, not the number two.
The- yeah.
So according, then type two, and then Taz, Taz.
Wicked. Because I mean, we all like a bit of salubrious gossip from time to time, but I'm curious to know what. Oh, Lady Pegasus says Meghan used a surrogate, but the baby
That,
is biologically Harry and Meghan's.
yep, that is correct, absolutely correct. Because
Well, what about the new one? Is this another fake baby bump again?
yeah, definitely. How could she be that
I
pregnant when she only just had a recent miscarriage? Now, how could she be that, that tummy that she was hugging on that interview, on that ridiculous interview with Oprah? How could she possibly be that far pregnant? See, what
well, I
happened?
don't know. I thought she. I've got to say, I thought she looked very. I thought she looked like my friends have looked when they're pregnant, with this sort of glow and their faces soften. And I think her
That was
face in
Botox.
the.
That was Botox, Tori. That was all Botox.
I
You
think
go and
someone
have a
else.
look. Have a look at her photographs from 6 months ago. That her face is so full of Botox now, it's not funny. She's
But
actually older than what she says she is. She's the only one that went through her school. 6 years younger than everybody else. I mean, she's lied right from the very beginning. Everything
so
she said has been false.
do you
She's a
think that
narcissist.
she total narcissist, and I'm glad you brought that up too. But what I was going to say, so you think it's Botox and fillers? Because Elsie Flag says Megan does look like she's carrying this baby. You can tell by her face and lips, but she doesn't think that Megan carried Archie. And then Shanna says, and Shanna's gorgeous and tiny, but she says she got puffy in the face during her last pregnancy, like Megan's got now.
Mm. Um, I don't know about this pregnancy. I really don't know, but I totally believe the first one was a surrogate. Will and Kate put on their royal site a couple of hours after the baby announcement that it was through a surrogate, and then they took that down. It was only up for a couple of hours, but different clip channels caught it on, you know,
I
YouTube.
love this. You don't miss a trick. I love this.
Oh,
Because
see, I mean,
there's
yeah,
division. There's division in the chat about it. There are some people
yeah,
thinking that she has got
yeah,
the round pregnancy glow. Um,
yeah.
Now apparently she says she's 39, but she's Lady Pegasus says Megan's 39, but a lot of people think she's about 43.
Yeah, if you go back to when she was at school, so she's been put photos. The photos are all out of her at school and those people in her class. Then there's the stories about her at college, how she glued a girl's eye shut with super glue, and there's a lot on the internet about that.
Which is
I've been told this,
awful.
but yeah,
And that
yeah,
goes back to that comment you made about her being a narcissist, because
mm,
the really sad thing that came across to me watching the Oprah interview is, like all narcissists, she's getting off on all the chaos she's causing.
yeah. Well, see, that interview was really wisely done by her. She didn't give you enough information to make the story correct or not correct. And it looked like, when she was throwing the senior royals underneath the, bus and then backing over them, because she didn't elaborate on it. But you'll notice the lie that was in there. She said it was multiple conversations, right? That they
Yep.
talked about. And then when Harry came into the interview, he said no, it was only just one conversation about the colour of the baby.
Yep.
So there was the lie there that if you didn't pick it up straight away, you would have thought, But the thing is, she was trying to make out that the senior royals were racist. So then you had to work out yourself, okay, is it the Queen? Is it Philip?
Yep.
Is it
Is
Charles?
it
Is it
Charles?
Camilla?
Camilla?
Charles or Will and Kate, right? So she'd already thrown Kate underneath the bus when she was talking about the making Kate cry and
Over the
at the moment,
bridesmaids'
yeah,
dresses.
yeah, about wearing inner
Ooh.
stockings. See, Meghan didn't want the little girls to have on their little stockings. She wanted them to be bare-legged, which is not royal protocol for this great big £30 million. Imagine how frustrated
After
Kate would have
and
been saying, "Look, yeah," and
also,
so then she
the
found
fact
out
that
all
they had already
about.
got married. The fact that they'd already got
Oh no,
married
no,
and
no,
then
no, no. Oh, Tori, you're off. Oh no. Guess what? The
what?
cardinal, the archbishop or cardinal, whatever he is, that was only 3 days beforehand, was a practice run in the back of their garden. It was just a practice run for them. But she made out that they had a little private wedding beforehand. You can't do that. You just can't
Well, it
do
would
that.
have. I
That's
reckon
against
that'd piss off.
church law and English law. It's against both laws over there in the Church of England or whatever they call it. But that
And
is
also,
against the law.
how easy to piss off the taxpayers of England and the
Yeah,
UK who funded that wedding to go, oh, we were already married. We just did that for show. Like, hello, what, £30 million or whatever it was?
no, that was a huge big lie, Tori. A huge big lie that was. So
Hey,
if you
Mel Mel,
if you think that's a little lie, right, that she told, and what else has she lying about? Was she really a yacht girl?
everything.
I mean, yeah, I'll
Everything's a
throw it.
lie, which is why I was so amazed that for the first time in my life, I was actually 100% with Piers on this. When he
Yeah,
said, I don't trust anything that comes out of her mouth, I was
yeah,
like, go Piers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and again, the narcissist thing, like they can't help but lie. And the thing that's been interesting about it is it's not just the reaction, obviously the royal family and Prince William having to come out and say we're not racist for the first time ever, that sort of thing having to be done. But the American reaction has been very interesting too. And at the end of this live, I'm going to do a little reaction video to this fuckwit on CNN. Oh my God. Oh my,
Yeah, I haven't seen
oh my
that.
God.
Yeah.
Like I understand their fascination, obviously, because she's an American actress, but they need to do a bit of research before they start spouting off. And so a lot of Americans are watching their own American TV shows and they're all very much pro Meghan. But the information they're putting out there is completely incorrect. Even with Oprah, that happened.
Well, see, Oprah's well, see, she had to have all these stars at her wedding, right? And she'd never met them. She'd never met Oprah beforehand. Now, isn't that just a little bit weird that you have like George Clooney at your wedding and you've never actually met him? Don't you think
Yep.
that's a little bit funny? So she
Mm-hmm.
was she was starstruck all along. So she had them there so they would, give her that, she's this famous actress. Well, no, she was never a famous actress. She was a D grade actress who had bit parts in a not a very big, you know, production
Oh,
show.
look.
It was
Well,
Suits. That's it, Suits.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
look, on that one, Suits is like one of my all-time favorite TV shows.
I
And
thought you watched it. Wow.
yeah, and she wasn't a bit actress on it. Her role in it was very big, and she was very well known from being on Suits. Suits was a massive show. So I will give her that. It wasn't some little
But
random
it's
series that
yeah, but you're watching it after. Are you? Did you watch it? in real
No, no,
time,
no.
or
I
like
watched it
where?
real time. I watched it real time. I streamed it live, like as it was being shown in the States.
Yep,
No, huge Suits fan and massive Suits fans, like fans of the show Suits all over the world, largely
yep.
because of Harvey. If anyone in chat has watched Suits, they'll know that Harvey was really um, the reason people got into it because he was brilliant. But so was Donna. There's a few characters that were amazing, but it's a really well written show. And interestingly, in that show, Megan has a love interest, Mike, and she completely fucks up Mike's world as well. They get married, and the two of them just acted like these little spoilt brat, entitled millennials, and they were the shittiest part of Suits. In fact, at the start, I was like, "Gee, that chick is smoking hot." She wore a pencil skirt with a tucked-in fitted shirt, better than anyone I've ever seen. Like she was
Yeah,
amazingly beautiful, but even
yep,
her character in Suits, she fucked up Mike, who was great. And it's
yeah.
almost like life imitating art now. Like the what's going on with her and Harry is almost a similar storyline to what happened with Meghan and Mike in Suits.
Oh, oh. See, I never
Mm.
watched it. All I know
But it
about
was a big
Suits.
show. It was a big show.
Yep. Well, never watched it. All I knew was that she had, a part in Suits, and she was right into, having sex scenes, wasn't there? Quite a few sex scenes in it. That's all
That
I
was
knew.
another reason it's a great show. The sex scenes in Suits are fantastic. Not all Americans are pro Meghan. No, I know that they're not, but I would say that a lot of the people that have CNN scrolling over, with all this stuff, I can't watch those shows. There's too much stuff going on. I can't even watch Australian commercial television, and it's certainly not our breakfast shows. They're awful as well. But um, no, not all Americans are pro Meghan, and I think that that's obvious. But I do think the mass population that tune into like CNN and have it scrolling all day, they would be believing everything they hear, and
Oh,
and the same as the
probably.
ones that watch the Oprah interview.
Yeah. I
Another
mean, not.
thing too, just with her saying she knew nothing about the royal family. On the one hand, she was saying, "I lived in a Commonwealth country for 7 years," which is while they were filming Suits. But then she's like, "I didn't know anything about the royal family." It's like, well, which one is it?
It was
You
an
know,
absolute
did
lie.
you or
See,
didn't you? Like she contradicted herself even within the interview.
um, she went on a charity thing. She went overseas to the same place that Diana went. There's a photograph out there of her dressed exactly like Diana was when she was over there doing it. Um, it's everywhere on the internet. You can find it. She
Yep.
was apparently when she was a young girl, always wanted to be a princess. She went over to England a couple of times and tried to actually form a relationship with William to start off with. So she was
Yeah, and
right.
so
Mm,
sorry to cut you off because I'm just while we're on that topic. Her own blog, the Tig, she had heaps of
yep.
shit on there about Kate Middleton.
Yes, she's always been jealous of Kate, and
Mm-hmm.
to say that Kate didn't get treated bad by the press is an understatement. Kate was a young girl, 17, 18, and she had that much negative press put out, against her, heaps more than what Meghan ever got. So um, it's unbelievable how uh, Meghan was allowed to go on the train with the Queen. I think I don't know whether it was before they got married or just after they got married. And see, Kate was never allowed to do that at all. She was fast tracked. They fast tracked her to do
Yeah,
all
well, there
these
was
special things.
also one of her first public appearances with all the royal family. She was standing and sitting next to the Queen, and that was also a first for
Yes.
a,
Yes.
a
And they fast
fiance
tracked.
to be with the
Yep.
Queen.
Yep. And she was allowed to go to the church service on Christmas with the whole family before they were actually married. And that's never happened before. So she had that many privileges given to her that other ones had to wait for some strange reason. I don't know why, but she was treated really, really well. And then for her to come out and say that, you know, they're racist is just unbelievable. That whole
Exactly,
interview,
and
I
if they
wish I had
truly were, Sorry, if they truly were racist, they've got the power to stop that wedding from even happening. Like, if the royals were truly racist, they could have completely prevented that wedding from happening.
Absolutely.
I think I think one of the reasons she was fast tracked and got so many privileges that other members of the royal family didn't is because she'd already shown herself, and they were terrified of the damage that she could cause them. So I think they did end up catering to not her every whim, but I think that they did do things to make her feel special and make her realize that, they were breaking these old protocols and letting her have all these privileges, because I think that they saw her true colors from the start, and it was more damage control than anything. But I also believe, I mean, Megan herself says that she had a really good relationship with the Queen. And, in photos and stuff, you could see affection definitely in the photos. So I do think there was an element of that. But I also think that they were shit scared that exactly what's happening now could have happened if they didn't make her feel super special. And they probably went a bit above and beyond with her too, because she was American, because she was moving into this world from a different country. And so that's
Yeah.
my feeling behind why she was given those extra privileges. There was another thing in the interview too where she commented about how they took away her passport. You don't have to travel on a passport when you're a member of the royal family. You have diplomatic papers. The only person in the royal family who doesn't need a passport to travel is the Queen, because the Queen is a person who issues the passports, and she can't issue one to herself. But to say that she lost her passport, her driver's license, and her keys,
Yeah.
the
That was a total
plenty
lie.
of plenty of royals drive, but also look at all the places she travelled to. She had a baby shower in New York for two that cost $200,000 US. She
Yeah.
travelled all over the bloody place. Went to Africa, came to Australia. So
Went to
why is she
Fiji.
complaining? Yeah. So why is she complaining about no
But
passport?
that
She
was,
didn't need one to travel.
pity me, pity me. See, it was all a lie.
And
Who
again,
cares?
Oprah heard that and just went, oh, quelle horreur, and didn't question it at all. Didn't
It doesn't.
say, well, how did you get to New York without a passport? Or how did you get to Australia without a passport? Like, Oprah just went,
Exactly.
oh my God, that's terrible. Full
Mm,
stop.
mm. It was the worst interview, if you can call it an interview. It was just a royal bashing. And
It was.
I couldn't understand why Oprah would not finish off what was happening. She just let her have that last day, and you think, question that, please ask the right question to follow
Yeah.
on to something else. But no, she just let her have a say, and everybody's bashing poor little Megan, and it's the senior royals that have done it to me, and I never understood what all this was about. They even had to teach me how to curtsy. I mean, oh,
I
mm,
know. It was just absolute. The whole thing was a big steaming pile of shit.
that's right.
There's a bit being said in chat about
I
her
can't
being a
see
yacht
chat.
girl. No, so I'm letting you know, her being a yacht girl for Jeffrey Epstein. What do you know about that thingamajig?
Well, apparently, um, remember back when they went to the games and Megan came out with Harry for the first time. So that was when the media caught on that this is Harry's new girlfriend, right?
Yep.
So different people started to dig back then. That was before the royal family went through and started getting rid of things that were out there. Obviously, they have, people that protect them, and obviously the CIA is all wrapped up into that, right? But there was things on the internet that she was actually a yacht girl, which means that she used to go onto the yachts, these big, multi-million dollar yachts, and be one of the girls that entertained the gentlemen.
Entertained in inverted commas.
Oh, well, actually, my camera's not on, is it? No,
No.
I'm doing exactly the same with my fingers up here that you just did. That's why I thought, oh my God, the camera's
No, you're safe. You're safe. You're safe. I'm one of those idiots who cams up for some reason, but no,
on.
you're safe. But yeah, that's another little juicy. And look, I mean, it's highly likely. She
I
certainly
did
was
from it.
determined to be famous, wasn't she? Like,
Yeah.
and she certainly wanted to mingle with the rich and famous. And this is a girl too. I just want people to realize this. Megan didn't come from an like insanely opulent family, but she didn't come from poverty either. She was private school educated. She was already mingling with people who were related to famous people. She obviously got into acting to become a bit of a superstar in that regard. But this isn't a rags to riches story either. I think people
Mm.
need to remind themselves of that. She
With
wasn't she wasn't living like a Paris Hilton, but she wasn't.
yeah,
She
well,
was
her
she was
personal
well
wealth.
educated.
Oh, sorry, Tori. Her personal wealth when she married into the family was $5 million. They say, so she'd already accumulated, quite a nice little nest egg, if you can call it that. So I've got to, because I've got to go, Tori. I've got so many things I'm trying to do at one time.
No, well, I
But
really appreciate you
I
jumping
just,
up because I'm going to
I
wrap this
just
up
want,
soon anyway.
yeah, I just want to put this out there. Wait on, I've
Yep,
just lost my train of thought. Um,
that's right.
wait on, I just lost my train of thought. Tori, oh, um, back,
Boat girl, yacht girl,
back,
opulent
no, no,
background,
no, no, no. Um,
private school educated.
wait on, I had this story. Well, obviously, her sister's going to bring a book out. That wasn't what I was going to say, but the sister's going to bring a book out, and that'll be interesting. But like we reckon on, these different places I visit, that the sister's been bought off. They reckon, somewhere there. So I'm not quite sure if the sister's going to release a book, but that'd be interesting. But another thing is what actually happened here in Australia at Government House. Now, I'm not quite sure if you've heard it, but it was hushed up really quickly. And what the story is that she had, when they first arrived at Government House, she thought her whole entourage was going to have that place to themselves. They didn't realise that, the governor and his wife were going to be there, the Governor General, right? So they had
In
an
their
argument.
residence.
Yeah. So there was an argument there. And then in the kitchen, apparently she threw hot boiling water at one of the people that was there helping. And it's been hushed up. And hopefully it'll get leaked now that all this stuff is starting to come out. So I'm really interested to find out if that is absolutely true. But that is, if you go into, according to Taz's channel, it's all in there. If you go
Yep.
into Murky Megs, it's all in there. We're all waiting for this, the true colours of Meghan now to be brought out, because I think they were protecting them. The media's been protecting them. And obviously, the papers are going to start going, okay, then, she's treated the royal family like this. How about we start putting out some of these things? And why hasn't she tried to sue all the people that are out there saying that, you know, it was a surrogacy pregnancy? I mean, there's so much,
Why even
crap.
do the baby bump though? Like, why even do that? Be proud about it. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban used a surrogate for their second daughter, and they were transparent about it. And it actually is it's a beautiful story. Like the fact that they wanted to have a child and Nicole wasn't able to carry another one, and they used a surrogate. Like, there's a lot of gorgeousness that comes out of a story like that.
Mm.
And what lengths parents will go to. But why go with the whole baby bump thing? Like, is that
Well,
how,
look,
vain she is that she wants everyone? Because I must admit, all the pregnancy photos of her when she was heavily pregnant, again, inverted commas, in, like massive
3 inch
stilettos.
heels. Yeah.
Yeah, massive stilettos, and be like, no, even I know, and I didn't have kids. Even I know that you shouldn't do that when you're pregnant. So I
Yeah.
did think that was a bit
There's a clip
inappropriate.
channel. Tori, go, just look it up. There's a clip channel, and they put
That's
together
great.
they they put together all the photographs of her pregnant, right? And the belly bump goes up and down like a yo-yo. And one day beforehand, then it's the next day, and the bump's going up and down, and it's got different shapes. And Admittedly, sometimes what you're wearing will change the shape of your bump, but not the way her bump was changing. And then there's photographs of the bump falling down and being around near her waist. That's why she always put a hand underneath it to make sure that it was staying there. And it must have popped when she knelt down for something or
Yep.
whatever. But it's all out there on clip channels. Oh, it's
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
I'll start my next live on this topic because Aussie Flag just said no pregnant woman in high heels could squat down and get straight up. No way. Well, I've got to say, like, I've got a bit of a pot belly, and if I go down, if I'm wearing heels and I squat down to stand up, I've got to put my hand on something to pull myself back up, or
Yeah.
someone's got to offer me a hand to help me back up
Yeah.
because I'm a bit
And
of a chubby wubby.
and your
But yeah,
center of
so
gravity's off. I mean, your center of gravity's off if you've got a baby in front of you and she
mm,
was bending down and then coming straight back up without even, any difficulty whatsoever. And let's face it, when you're pregnant, it's all sitting right down there, and there's photographs of her squatting down at 8.5 months pregnant, and you're thinking to yourself, that's literally impossible. No pregnant woman
yeah,
could do that. And her belly
yeah.
bump at that stage, she had it nice and big then. She had no excess swelling on her ankles. She had no,
She was
you know,
wearing Big Buddha that day. They all had names. Oh, I love this. Well, we're going to do more on it because it's fun to sort of, I think, I mean, a lot of channels are dissecting body language and going through everything in minute detail. But I think, my channel is always more observational. Even my comedy is observational. And when I get back to doing that again on stage. But, it's fun to do this and go down these little rabbit warrens. I know Shanna was saying in chat that she's gone down a rabbit warren on Reddit and she's now an expert.
yeah.
Casper, all us Aussies have beer bellies. I've got Australian friends with flat stomachs, and I don't think they belong here. They're
Well, Tori, it
imposters.
was lovely to talk to you. Next
Thank you
time
so much for jumping up. It's exciting. We've been on two panels now in less than a week.
next time I'll take some notes and put them down. But I'm actually, busy doing things, and it's all standing around me here everywhere. I'm packing my suitcases and,
Oh,
washing.
you're going on an adventure.
I'm taking my mum back to New South Wales.
Oh, well, safe travels.
Yeah,
I hope you don't end up getting stuck up there with a lockdown.
I hope not. Tori, don't kind of say that. No, I'll be up there for a couple of weeks anyway. Uh,
I'm touching wood. No, it's a couple of weeks should be fine. A couple of weeks should be
mm.
fine.
No, no,
I'm
I'm going.
excited about the Singapore bubble opening up because if that happens, because my brother and his wife and daughter are in Singapore, and be so lovely to go over and see them, but also for them to come home and see their boys who are one's still in Tassie and the other one's in Melbourne.
Yeah,
So that's kind of, but yeah, let's all put our notes in our binders and
yeah.
do another one. Maybe next time we'll do the has Megan got a beer gut will be the topic.
Well, if you do, I'll take notes so I can get it all right for you, and so I'll know exactly where you can find it if you want to, have
Oh
another
yeah,
quick
you are
look.
giving me the keys to the rabbit warren. I'm heading down
Oh,
there and it'll
yeah,
be but I love it, and I think at the end of the day I think we should be chatting about it because I just think it's so disrespectful, and I think the Oprah interview was terrible, and the way the world's reacting, it's fascinating to watch it all unravel, and very fascinating to for the first time in my life to completely agree with something Piers Morgan has said.
yeah. I mean,
But you
he is
have a
different.
good day, gorgeous, and thank you so
Same
much for
to
jumping up.
you. Same to you. Thank you for having me, Tori. And sorry to
Pleasure.
chat. I don't have chat on out here. But anyway,
No, they're
hope.
having a great time in chat, and they've enjoyed having you up there. That yeah, the chat's fantastic. I need to sit down and rewatch chat for this one as well because there's always so much information in chat. But
Mm.
yeah, they're all Aussie Flag wants to know whereabouts in New South Wales you're heading. Thingamajig, just dox yourself, Dal.
Oh, you're on the Northern Rocket. I'm going down to Dubbo. So I've got two
Nice.
flights to Aussie Flag. So I leave here, go to Sydney, and because Mum's on a wheelchair assist, So I get a little bit of VIP treatment because she's on a wheelchair assist. So, and then we hop on the second plane, fly down to Dubai, and then Mum's in a village there for over 55. So, and she hasn't been there now for 3 months. So I'll have a few things I have to do for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, take her to Blues Fest because the wheelchair access at Blues Fest always right up the front.
Yeah.
If you go with someone in a wheelchair,
I could just see my mother at that.
I'm sure there's people at festivals that are wheeling around their relatives, their elderly relatives who are in wheelchairs just so they get the front row seats in the mosh pit.
Sorry, I got a funny story. I said to Mum, look, I've got a girlfriend that's coming on here and she's going to be talking about the Royals. And Mum goes, oh, is she? Can I watch that? And I thought, oh, yeah, okay then. So Mum sits down and I'm pegging washing out at this stage. And I said hello to you, but I'll be busy, right? And anyway,
Yep.
Mum goes, oh, she swears, doesn't she, Patrice? Oh, shit. Oh, I think I just doxed myself.
You're fine.
Oh, well.
We know. We already know in Australia. Like, I mean, geez, it's easy to find any of us if the people want to. But also, who's going to do anything? Like, if anyone actually flies all the way to Tassie, because I completely dox myself, but I'm also incredibly easy to find on the Google machine. But if anyone went to the extreme effort to come all the way down here and ended up on my doorstep, I'd be like, this is bloody awesome.
I'd say,
Let's go live.
Come in.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Look, it doesn't worry me. We're in Tassie. That's what I reckon. I've got nothing
exactly.
to worry
We can always cut the cord and drift away if we need to.
But you know what the good part about it is I've got nothing in my past. So if anybody wants to look me up, all they can find is just nice things, good things.
I've got
So
nothing in my past I'm ashamed of. In fact, the dodgiest things in my past, if they came out, people would be like, man, she's had a good life. She's had an interesting life. She's done some kooky shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
they might see a few photos of me on holidays all over the world, but that's about all. Yeah. They're not going to
She
find anything
travelled.
dodgy. Yeah,
Nah.
she actually did travel. I was lucky before, all this virus. So I was lucky. I got to travel the world and enjoy
We were.
it. Yeah. But
We
anyway,
were.
sweetheart, I'm going.
Take care,
Love
gorgeous,
you.
and safe travels. Love you too, beautiful. And see you again round on the tubes. But yeah, safe travels, gorgeous.
Yeah, and just let me know when you're going to do another one, and I'll make sure I have all my notes with me, and
Absolutely.
I'll have actual where they can find to have a look at that because that was really really interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep,
Okay.
for sure. Love it. Thanks for all your hard work and knowledge too. Chat soon.
Okay, darling. Okay.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye. Bye, chat. Bye.
Bye, thingamajig. Oh, how gorgeous. And thank you too. Like I will let read chat. Chat's been fantastic as well. Thanks, Lady Pegasus, for dropping links and so on. I do know a fair bit about the royals, but all this sort of salacious Meghan stuff, I haven't gone down that rabbit warren yet, just because I wasn't that interested. To be honest. But then I started to see things unraveling. I started getting a bit more interested in Meghan when they, decided to divorce the royal family. Now, I don't know whether to put this CNN dude on just for a bit of a laugh at the end of the live, just because it could be a bit of a rant, or whether I do it separately. But he just says some really, and it's really nothing that he says that's specific about Harry and Meghan. It's just some really dumb comments that he makes about freedom of speech, about being a winner. I might save it for another day. But yeah, Lady Pegasus, good on you too for dropping all of those links. Make sure you hit the thumbs up at least for Thingamajig. If you don't want to give me one, give one to Thingamajig for jumping up. That's the second time she's ever been on a panel. So her first time on a panel was on Friday last week. Hey Emily, how you doing, gorgeous? God, we've got a heap. Thank you for coming up, Thingamajig. And we will be doing more Meghan Markle stuff. I'm now curious to go down the baby bump road. You're welcome anytime, Thingamajig. Yeah, I want to do a live. Next one will be about Meghan's beer gut. Meghan. But yeah, I might save the dude on CNN because I kind of want to have a bit of a rant about him and the stuff that he says. But I would like to just point out for him, and I will cover it in more detail when I do a reaction video to him, that freedom of speech exists around the world, not just in America. Just because it's in your constitution, it's the First Amendment. Other countries have it too, motherfucker. And the restrictions and limitations that you have on it in the States are pretty much the same as they are in the UK. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, you tosser. I hate that ignorance. It gives me the shits. This guy was crapping on about how, America's the winner. Now here I go. I'm on my rant now. America wins because we've got freedom of speech in our constitution and it's law. We win. Okay, fucker. Just Google freedom of speech in Wikipedia and see what comes up, motherfucker. Oh my God, it just annoyed me. Maybe I should do my rant. Because the other thing is, I'll do my rant. Where is he? Let's end with this tosser. He's a fucking tosser. Share screen. I've got so many windows open. Oh my God. Okay. Right.
President Biden signed his $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill into law.
That's not him. And I didn't want to talk about Biden. What the fuckity fuck happened there? Here we go. Now, I will stop and start this because I don't want CNN to strike me. Safe travels thingamajig. Oh, yeah, all of my American friends are horrified because well, not all of them. I haven't spoken to every single American friend of mine, but most of my American friends, like we've had Jamie and Chad and Shanna, but also and Morgan, but friends of mine outside of YouTube world, American friends, are quite fascinated by the whole monarchy concept. And a lot of them are children of parents who were fascinated when Princess Grace married Prince Rainier. And, that whole American actress marrying a royal. And they're genuinely fascinated by it. And even I've got friends in the States who watch the Commonwealth Games. Like, there's a lot of Americans who don't give a flying flip about Meghan, but who also think that what she did was very disrespectful for sure. But let's watch this tosspot. For some reason, he just really pissed me off. Where's my notes about this little fucker? Oh, did I actually make any notes? I don't think I did. I just want you to listen to this guy and understand what people say on popular TV shows are potentially very dangerous. So I hope that you understand my point for showing this dude. Okay, here we go. Take that off. I'm not playing all of it. I just want to play a little bit of this noob.
If people want to believe Meghan Markle, that's entirely their right. I don't believe almost anything that comes out of her mouth.
So there we have Piers. I think his use of the word contemptible is brilliant. And, yeah, he doesn't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. And like we did at the start, we just went through half a dozen things that came, or maybe a dozen things that came out in the Oprah interview that are so easily disproved as being blatant lies. So Piers...
The damage done to the British monarchy and to the Queen at the time when Prince Philip lying in hospital is enormous and frankly contemptible.
Anyone in chat not Team Piers at this point? Jamie, I followed the Royals all of my life, even watched Diana. Yeah, my mum was obsessed with them. I do miss chatting with her about the latest. Me too. My mum loved the Royals as well. My mum met, I'm just trying to remember if she met the Queen. She didn't, but I've got a beautiful photo of her and my dad walking out of Parliament House in Canberra with Prince Philip. I'm not sure if the Queen was there that trip. But yeah, Mum was completely obsessed. But that was one of her favourite things, was a photo of her. So I should actually dig that up and use that as a thumbnail, especially if we talk about the Prince Philip side of things, because what Piers was just saying then, like, yeah, and I've mentioned it earlier, the Queen's got a bit on a plate right now. Harry's grandfather is really fucking sick. I just feel for Harry, but I also wonder if he's just enabling this, if he's so besotted with her, so in love with her, so pussy whipped. I don't know. It's ripping the family to shreds. He's having a break from his brother at the moment. His grandfather is incredibly unwell and in hospital. His grandmother would be worried sick. I mean, God, they've been together forever. No, CNN, I don't know why I stumbled. I think it was rolling, like videos were rolling over, and I could hear this noob as I was walking around the house, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's not Piers I'm talking about. There's more to come. Here we go.
So if I have to fall on my sword for expressing honestly held opinions about Meghan Markle and that diatribe of bilge that she came out with.
Diatribe of bilge. See, this is the thing that sucked in that one where he was with Alex Beresford and he stormed off the set because he wasn't enunciating and he wasn't getting the point across. And I knew the point he was trying to make, which was Archie would never have had the title of prince. Full stop. Not racist, full stop. He just didn't say that. And this Alex Beresford's like, but it's all about perception. And if she perceives it to be racist, it's like, no, but it's not, because it wouldn't have mattered if Archie was blue, pink, polka dot, purple, whatever fucking colour. He wasn't going to become a prince at birth. If Charles becomes king, Archie will become a prince. But also, Meghan, you and Harry didn't want Archie to be Lord Pompadour of Monrovia or whatever the fuck his title was at birth. You actually specifically said we don't want him to have that. He's just Archie. He's going to have a normal life. Anywho, Piers, bilge, very eloquent. Let's keep going.
That's talk show host Piers Morgan blasting Meghan Markle again.
Oh no, God forbid. God forbid a member of a Commonwealth country who cares about his royal family and who's also had some kind of, I wouldn't call it a relationship, but experience with Meghan herself, as if he's not allowed to comment. This woman looks like she's got a corn cob up her butt. It looks like you guys are all just chatting about all the stuff, but I'm going to keep going. I want to get to this twerp.
This morning. This is after he stormed off his morning show.
Yeah, he stormed off because Alex Beresford talked over the top of him and wouldn't listen to the point that he was trying to make. He'd already agreed with Alex Beresford that if the comment about Archie's skin colour had been pitched in a racist way, as opposed to just God, it could be an interesting looking kid with the red-haired dad and the, I can't think of the right term, to mixed race wife, like this baby could be quite kooky. Pretty standard conversation. But if it was pitched in a racist way, that's not cool. Piers already agreed with that. The second point about the racism, though, is Meghan's claiming Archie not getting a title was racist. And it's not. He wasn't going to get one, like I said, no matter what colour he was. And Piers couldn't get that point across. Alex just kept pushing there, well, if she perceives it to be racist, it is card. And it was all fucking terrible. And I fully understand why he stormed off. He tried to make his point. But, yeah, he didn't storm off because he was having a tantrum. I mean, at what point you just go, you either sit there and go, let's agree to disagree, which could have maybe have happened 2 or 3 minutes prior, but by that point he's just like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. What Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Sure does. All right, let's go back. Let's get to this tosser. Brace yourself. I'm going to launch in a minute.
On Tuesday, amid a very heated discussion that he keeps having about...
A heated discussion that he keeps having. No, he was trying to make a point and the other dude kept talking over the top of him.
Meghan Markle. CNN's chief media correspondent, Brian Stelter, joins us now. What is his problem?
What is his problem? Now check out Brian. Just watch Brian for a minute.
Come on, Brian. What is it? Who is he to say whether or not she's having mental health issues?
Well,
where was that discussed? This was all about the racist stuff. He said he didn't believe a word she said. In the interview, she said she didn't get access to any therapy, even though, as we've already covered, shitloads of royal family members, including her own husband and her father-in-law, have had access to therapy, and her, well, now deceased obviously, but Diana, even her sister-in-law's brother. So, yeah, who's here to talk? This chick in the pinks completely missed the point. It was all on the racist thing. But anyway, whatever. Let's go.
Well, they do have a past, and maybe he's jealous of all of Meghan's fame.
Piers Morgan is jealous of Meghan's fame. Get your hand off your dick, mate.
Piers has a habit of always sticking himself in every story, getting lots of attention, and now there's speculation.
Yeah, he's stuck himself in this story because he's English, and this involves the royal family, you fuckwit. What's your connection? Oh, that's right, the American actress. So you're allowed to talk about it. So why can't he?
This morning, among media insiders, that he might be lining up a new job with Rupert Murdoch.
Well, that's fucked. I do agree with that. Not that he pitched it in the way. Look at him now. He's all... Rupert's a tosser. I'm not going to argue that point. But who cares? What's that got to do with it?
Men like Morgan always seem to land on their feet, finding a new job thanks to powerful friends like...
Well, that's possible. Maybe he does always land on his feet, but on this occasion he said something pretty fucking relevant and interesting. And even when I disagree with him, I still like listening to his point of view. That's what critical thinking's all about, is like being open to other opinions and beliefs and so on, right?
Rupert Murdoch. Murdoch is about to launch a new network in the UK. Allison, I know you would never walk off a set the way Piers Morgan did.
Well, dude, I'd walk off a set if I had to fucking talk to you every morning.
Even when John upsets me in the morning. I mean, John and I host a breakfast show.
That's right.
Oh, breakfast shows. Sorry you don't use the same terminology. Like, if you're going to talk about things that happen in other countries, why not use that terminology without Just because it doesn't mean that in your country doesn't mean it in someone else's. But we're panning across to John shortly, and John is the fuck knuckle I'm talking about.
Right? As it's called in Britain. And yes, it can be stressful. But can you imagine waltzing off the set? What would I have to do to make you waltz off the set?
She'd just have to show up to work for me to walk off the set. I mean, look at it. Look at her. She's already insipid, annoying. Oh, sorry. Is that in your language too? Sorry. Annoying.
Find out over the next 2 hours if you... I actually have 3 things to say about this. Number one, like imagine a television anchor trying to make the story more about him or her. That never happens.
Appalling.
Okay. We could just go back and watch all of the CNN show for the last hour before this clip came along. It's pretty much all about them. Haven't we been chatting about, would you ever walk off the set if I did something? She said that to both of them. Is she making it about her? You tell me, John.
That never happens. The second thing is, I think you know how I feel about the existence of the royal family.
We don't give a fuck how you feel about the royal family. You're not in a Commonwealth country. If you're in a Commonwealth country and you don't like royal families, your opinion's a little bit more valid, dude. No one gives a fuck what you think. And if you did your research about them, you might be a bit more interested. But this dude has done fuck all homework.
In general, right?
Yeah.
But why are regulators looking at... What's the investigation? This speaks to the problem with the whole British system. The monarchy is one part of it. But why why investigate for a television anchor expressing his opinion? They don't have the same free speech laws.
Oh, okay. We don't have the same free speech laws. What? Yeah, we don't have it written into. Well, let's go. Okay, let's go to England. They don't have it written into their constitution because they don't need to. It is preserved in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You fuck stain. You don't have to have it written in your constitution. And guess what? That applies. The United Nations applies to you guys too. But yeah, apparently no one else in the world has freedom of speech. And here's this fucking comment that gives me the shits. You love how irritated I am. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. I'm sorry it does. And this is not a dig at America and the good people of America. This is a dig at the fuckwits of America. Trust me, Australia is overflowing with wankers. Some of you might think I'm one, and that's cool. I'll take it. But this pisses me off. Just because it's in the First Amendment of the American Constitution doesn't mean no one else in the world has freedom of speech. I've got freedom of speech. I'm fucking live on YouTube right now criticising you fuck twat muffins for your stupid, narrow-minded, ignorant comments. No one's kicking my door down to stop me talking. Now, sure, there are some areas that I'm not allowed to just go off on. Hate speech generally doesn't fall under the umbrella of freedom of speech, but it doesn't in America either. But what is this belief that the Constitution of America is the only document on the planet that has bestowed freedom of speech on anyone? I lived in Vietnam. Now, Vietnam, you don't have Facebook. You can't go live on Facebook. It's a communist country and they don't truly have freedom of speech. And shitty things can happen in a lot of communist countries if you exercise what you believe your right to free speech. Good on the people who have a crack at it. But yeah, there's definitely some censorship going on there. And there's also censorship in countries that are just reasonable and think that some things shouldn't be printed because of how distasteful and inappropriate they are. But you motherfuckers, good on you for having it in your constitution, but it doesn't mean you're the only country in the world that's got freedom of speech. Shitloads of countries have, including Commonwealth countries. Seriously, dude, do some homework, you fucking ignoramus. Sorry. Tori needs a chuff. Doesn't that just piss you off, that comment? How fucking stupid. How stupid. Seriously. CNN, get this guy to do some homework. It blows my mind this argument still happens all the time on so many YouTube channels that American creators honestly think that America is the only country with any freedom of speech. It blows my mind. Blows my mind. I won't hold back. And by the way, it's really just John who sucks. Well, no, Pink Top Girl gives me the shits, and that's for that other little fucking bald prick. Anyway.
That we have in the United States, I find what he said reprehensible, and I disagree with it fundamentally, but I'm not sure why there's an investigation.
Okay, that's fair, Brian.
It wasn't so much an investigation. Like, what's he talking about? Has anyone actually found any proof that there's like a formal investigation into what Piers said? He really needs to get his hand off his dick.
And maybe you know the answer, but I think that the larger issue is, who is he? Who is he to say that he doesn't believe her mental health issue?
So Pinky Tuxedo over there, she's gone back to the mental health issues stuff again. Pardon me. Meghan said she didn't have access to any therapy, any treatment, any assistance with the mental health stuff. Nobody said, I mean, okay, Piers doesn't believe a word she says, and Piers thinks she's a fucking bullshitter. But at the end of the day, if she had gone to anyone, including Harry, and said, I'm having suicidal thoughts, bang, they would have been straight on to helping her out straight away. Like, her mother is a social worker who works in the mental health area. Like, she had help. Doesn't mean she's not telling the truth, and it's fucking awful if she had those thoughts. We know that Diana did, and pretty early on in her time in the royal family as well. It's fucking horrible. But nobody's going like Pinky Tuxedo keeps going back to that point. And yeah, if that's what Piers Morgan is saying, then there is something I don't agree with him on. But I haven't actually seen him say that. I just heard him say she's a big fat liar. Just listen to the best rant on YouTube. But wait, there's more.
And by the way, that does have a corrosive effect on the culture because people are having mental health issues. And so when he disses it, that's not helpful.
And I agree with that point. But I also agree that calling everything fucking racist under the sun takes away from the actual true racism that's going on in the world. Like calling out racism on absolutely everything, even a royal protocol that has nothing to do with Archie's colour, that actually takes away from true racism. So on the one hand, Pinky Tuscadero, I do agree with you on that. Like, it's no one's place to ever say someone does or doesn't have a mental illness, and it does take away from people who genuinely are dealing with that on a daily basis. But the same could go for the racism comment that Meghan made, and I don't see you ranting about that.
And there's always a right to an opinion, but it's about how you say it. And Morgan's out there saying he doesn't believe a word Meghan says. He always takes the most extreme position. That's why some people love him, but others hate him.
Yeah, he does take extreme positions, but so did she. She said she had absolutely no help at all about learning how to become a royal. None. None. You want to talk extreme? She's extreme too. Maybe that's why Piers and Meghan didn't get on well, because it was a battle of the egos, you know? But here again, here's this little fucker over on the left with his little closed eyes and his little bald head criticising Piers Morgan for doing exactly the same shit that Meghan's done. This is the thing. Where is this discussion? Why isn't there one person out of the three of them who's going, look, I'll just take the opposite side just so we have an interesting discussion? I guess you don't need that in commercial TV, right?
And in this culture, that sometimes works in media.
Look, it may make him a jerk. Absolutely. But I don't understand why it means there needs to be a government action.
I've got to Google more about the government action. I've got to admit, I don't know what the government action fucking is. But speaking about jerks, Meghan's won too.
Well, on that, the U.S. wins. The U.S. wins.
Oh, sorry. It was Bruce, not John, that got me on this one. Let me just rewind. I talked over the top of him.
Is to be a government action.
Well, on that, the U.S. wins. The U.S. wins. The U.K. does not. We are luckier in the U.S. not to have those regulators.
We don't.
The US wins. The US wins fucking what? What have you won, Bruce? What the fuck have you won? Because trust me, cockhead, you're on a national TV show. If you said something that was like particularly inappropriate, hate speech, whatever, you're going to get the bloody kick up the ass for that too. But secondly, what is it with Americans? And I'm not saying all of you guys. I know that I sound like I'm generalizing, but I am not. I'm in a bit of a rant right now. What is it with the Americans who constantly talk about America winning, America being number one? Have you noticed there's no other country in the fucking world that claims to be the best country in the world or number one? It's only America. Not all Americans, but people like that little fucking George Costanza love child lookalike that do this. Like, what are you doing? I'm Australian and I live in Australia, but guess what? I've got news for you. Australia, in my opinion, isn't the best country in the world that I've travelled to. I love this place, but it's fucking expensive and it's pretty immature. We had an opportunity to turn into this really young, vibrant country. Admittedly, we did adopt some old-fashioned UK traits that we could have chosen not to. But yeah, I've been in other countries. I've lived in other countries. I've travelled through other countries that I think are better than Australia. I have no problem saying that. Why is America so hell-bent on being the best country in the world? Why is it we win? We win. Win what? Win what? We're a global fucking community. There's countries, all different cultures, all different traditions that make this planet the most fascinating thing in the fucking solar system. Why do you have to be number one? And why is it only you guys that make out your country is the best in the world? Because right now with COVID, you're not. You're not winning that one. There's been more positive cases of COVID in the United States than the entire population of Australia. More people have died in the US of COVID than the entire population of Tasmania. You guys aren't winning that bit. So there's something you're not doing terribly well. So you're still the best country in the world? What are the boxes you have to tick to be number one? It blows my mind. Are you the best global economy now? Throwing that one out there. Have you looked at Germany lately and where they sit in the eyes of the rest of the world? Sorry, but this dude gives me the shits. I don't know what you're agreeing with. He wins a Darwin Award. I don't even know what you're all talking about. I'll sit back. Hey, Vicky Carpenter, welcome to my rant. No one country is perfect. And I've got to tell you, there's a comedian, an American comedian who's no longer with us called Greg Giraldo, who I absolutely adored. And he did the most fantastic routine about why America is arrogant for thinking it's the best country in the world. And he's like, what if there's a country like floating off Indonesia or somewhere where there's like 27 women and one guy and he just has to give them a quarter for a head job? Like, wouldn't that be the best country in the world? Like, there's numerous American comedians. Louis C.K. did a lot of commentary about it as well. But what's this whole we win and we're better than you thing? Hasn't COVID taught us all that this global community is way smaller than we already thought? And we've all connected through this shared experience, in some places definitely worse than in others. Where's that self-awareness and growth from experiencing what we all experienced in 2020 and realizing that this planet spins and we all have the shared experiences of grief, losing family, not being able to say goodbye to them, family and friends dying in the most horrible way possible, economies of countries being stretched to the absolute limit, people losing their jobs, their homes, all sorts of stuff. It's happening all over the world. Didn't you come out of last year feeling more connected with the rest of the planet? Why does a country have to be number one and the rest of the countries are, that's 38th in the line? Who gives a fuck? That attitude shouldn't exist anymore after what the world went through last year. Together. It blows my mind. And we win. We're not that regulated. Well, dude, you might want to type into Google machine what restrictions are there of freedom of speech in the USA. And guess what, dude? You are regulated too. Go, Tori, we're with you. Look at bloody Chicago's latest video. All right, I'll make a note of that too. He tells it as it is. Yeah, well, I've been following bloody Chicago. What a great name. Being an Aussie, we say bloody a shitload. And bloody hell, we'll continue to. But I've been watching an American doctor from the start, and Dr. Duck Vuong, and he's been slamming America and how it's all been handled from the start too, and he's made predictions that have come true, but even sooner than he predicted, and the numbers have been way worse. There's a lot of American commentators who are putting out incredibly good content, and it must be fucking frustrating as hell when there were so many things that could have been done that would have made a massive difference. And to know that and to be talking on a platform like YouTube and saying, if we do this, and this now, this, and this could happen, and it didn't happen. It must be incredibly frustrating. Like, on top of all the lockdowns and the depression that comes with self-isolating and losing jobs and losing homes, to also be walking around with the knowledge that it could have been prevented, or at least it could have been less dramatic. It would be horrible. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't. I think there'd be a lot of walls out there with head prints slammed into them, because that's what else can you do? What else can you do? In my opinion, we're not winning much lately. Again, my opinion, I love my country, but I'm not that small-minded to believe we're the best. Yeah, and look, Crystal, I think the majority of Americans do. It just blows my mind that this kind of shit's still happening, that this attitude is still prevailing. Every country has flaws. Every country has great things about it. Every country. The worst country in the world, whatever that could possibly be, because I don't have a scale of best and worst, but a country that's got the worst things imaginable happening all the time, there'd still be something redeeming about it. There'd have to be. Even if it's just a beautiful lake. Like, every country's got a good point and a bad point. But this attitude of we win, we're number one, we're the best, it's got to fucking go. it's okay to admit your country's fucked up at times. I'm very vocal about how fucked up Australia is, a lot. There's nothing wrong with that. It was the same with Trump. The people that were so one-eyed about Trump and everything he did was amazing were very dangerous people. It doesn't hurt to go, on that occasion, Trump, you fucked up. In fact, that's a good thing to be doing. It's good to have your eyes open. It's good to say, yeah, okay, for the most part I like you, but right now you're a fuckwit. Isn't that what we like with the human beings in our lives, our partners, our family, our friends? But it is, I mean, I don't know. I was watching this last night. I was like, I've got to go live and talk about this cockhead. Or this trio of cockheads. Yep, see, who has the best healthcare? My vote is France for the win. Best country. So, if that's the marker, go France, number one. They're not doing too well with COVID either. But you know what I mean? Like, every country's got good and bad things going on. Oh, your best friend's father died last night. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, Crystal Dan. Well, I'm glad the rant's giving you a distraction. Interesting movie by Michael Moore, Where to Invade Next, which essentially showed all the ways other countries do different things better than us, from healthcare, paternity leave to school lunches. Yeah, and he's been a brilliant commentator on all kinds of things that are wrong with the States. Bowling for Columbine. It's a pretty revealing. I've just thought of another one, Fahrenheit 9/11. Pretty vocal about flaws. And there's nothing wrong with, I think, in fact, it's charming to acknowledge that things are flawed. But this ties back into the whole Meghan thing. She expected perfection and she expected everything to go the way she wanted, and it didn't. And she's fucking having a massive tantrum. If she'd gone, okay, on the one hand, I do get all these amazing perks by being married to the man that I love, who just happens to be a member of a royal family, but that's going to come with a cost. There's going to be some sacrifices. My right to privacy is not going to be as clean cut as someone that's just a standard little civilian in a suburban household. I'm giving up my right, not total right to privacy, but I'm giving up my right to not be constantly in the tabloids, because it's going to happen. And this is a girl who pre-Harry went out of her way to make sure she was in tabloids and newspapers and magazines. It's the double standard of hers that's irritating. But if she'd just gone, okay, I'm going to take the good with the bad, because that's kind of what your wedding vows are. But she didn't. It was like, they didn't do this, they're fucked. Where's Meghan going? I could have been politer. I could have stopped bullying staff. I could have not thrown boiling water over someone. That story is pretty full on, isn't it? Like, where's her self-awareness of how she's contributed to any of this? There's none. And that's the other thing that pisses me off on YouTube, are the creators that do this. They get involved in awful things and then there's no accountability and they cry victim. But just a little bit of humility, Diane, would have been really nice, like just a little bit of humility. Okay, I'm getting backlash right now, but I stirred the pot. I'm the fuckwit. Shouldn't have done it. I'm really sorry. I did it. It was tongue-in-cheek. I was just doing it for a bit of fun. Didn't mean to upset anyone. Sorry that I did. Bit of humility goes a long way. And Meghan could have shown just a pinch of it. But nah, not a pinch. And Oprah didn't even make that possible. Oprah didn't call her out on anything, didn't dig into anything, just clutched her pearls going, oh, quelle horreur, the whole way through it. And now we've got this fuckwit. We win. I think that's almost all of him I wanted to play. Let me just check.
Don't have a king or queen, and we also don't have these weird speech rules.
I wouldn't worry about it.
They don't have a king or a queen, and they don't have these weird speech rules. Well, like I said, motherfuckers, have a look at the exceptions to your freedom of speech rights in the First Amendment of your Constitution, and then come back to me and we'll have a little chat. Because I think you'll find they're almost identical to the ones that apply to the United Nations as well. So, fuck yous.
Piers Morgan, I'm guessing he's going to land on his feet after an outburst like that.
So's Meghan. Meghan's also seems to be landing on her feet thanks to her little fucking outburst as well. Isn't it interesting how skewed this is? If just one of those people had been devil's avocado for a minute, and I say that deliberately, like I know it's advocate, but if just one of them had played devil's avocado, but no, Piers is storming off. Piers, the member of the Commonwealth country who's horrified at how the royal family have been depicted by Meghan, he's allowed to be pissed off. And his little co-host, who wouldn't let him get a word in and wouldn't listen to the point that he was trying to make, frustrated him. Yeah, he stormed off. Meghan would have too. If Oprah had dug a little deeper in her interview, I guarantee you Meghan would have stormed off with her baby bump dragging on the ground behind her. And if you came in late, there's a rumour that the belly is prosthetic. It's not a real pregnant belly. Don't think I've got some sick wish that Meghan's belly falls off. That's not what I was saying at all.
It sometimes gets rewarded. Brian, thank you very much. A reaction.
Well, yeah, so there you go. Oh, yeah, look at that. Prince Harry aims for a normal life for son Archie, but he needs to have security guards and a title and all these other fucking things that he wasn't entitled to. So we'll stop screen sharing now. I think that's about it for me. I'll just see how chat's doing. Hey, Audrey Dawn, how you doing? Far out, 2 hours. Didn't mean to go this long. So I am going to wrap this up. I just want to thank Thingamajig for coming up on panel. This is the first of many episodes. I was literally planning on doing like an hour. But I had to do that little rant at the end with CNN dude. And it was meant to be a bit of fun too. But if they strike me, I'm going to take them on and say, hey, fair use. I provided commentary, so kiss my ass. It'd suck if I got struck again though. Every time my channel starts inching towards 900, I get struck. Oh, exactly. Yeah, the royalty stuff. Yeah, Diana was more royal than the rest of them. So, who are you guys talking about? Morgan and Jamie. Not a Michael Moore fan. Yeah, I am. I like anyone that exposes stuff and challenges you to think and look into it and research. And you've got to take everything with a grain of salt, anything that you hear from anyone. But people who are prepared to stand up and have balls and expose things or pitch a different opinion to everyone else and not toe the line are worth listening to, in my opinion. Doesn't mean you have to believe them or even like them, but good on them. If the the two guys and that chick on CNN, that CNN panel, and Michael Moore were all standing in a row and they were all on fire, I'd piss on Michael Moore. The others, I'd let them burn. Sorry, but I would. Thanks, Lady Pegasus. Yeah, we might get to 1,000 soon. You never know. Please don't get struck. We need you. Well, I've got 2 more strikes up my sleeve. So, thanks, Sassy Birds. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you to everyone who came in and out during the live. It was really great to have you all here. 2 hours is long. My leg's getting a bit restless leg syndrome-y. Need to stretch it. Might even put on my beanie and go for a walk on the beach after lunch. Chelsea would have been a better pick for Harry. She didn't want the royal life. No, Chelsea bailed. But, yeah, thank you so much. Thanks to anyone, too, who watches the replay. We will be doing more of this because it's a pretty interesting story. I do want to look into the government investigation that Brian and John were talking about in Pinky Tuxedo. I also want to look into Meghan's baby bump stuff. And I've got to dig up that photo of my mum with Prince Philip. All right, I've got some stuff to do. But actually, no, I'll save it for next time. It might actually be, no, I don't think it is on my Facebook. So a little beautiful Sunny girl made her first brief appearance on YouTube as well. And she's sound asleep somewhere. She hasn't attacked me and told me to turn off my camera. So Sunny gets a gold star. You won't go for a walk with me today because it is really windy down on the beach. There's white caps and the sound will be a nightmare. Plus, I've been live for 2 hours. You guys just all need to get on with your days or nights and, I don't know, you've had enough Tory for one day, I think. But I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yes, watch this space. There will be more. And as for you, Brian, John, and Pinky Tuxedo, you're bad PR for your country. Your country is full of intelligent, well-travelled, educated, street smart, savvy, good people. You're bad PR for them. Just stop it. Until next time, I'm Tori. This is Traces of Nuts. Stay groovy.